Hi, my name is Kahle, and I'm here today to talk to you about the criminal justice system. And this is an area that I feel that God is really calling me towards, so I'd like to share a little bit of it with you. The three main points that we're going to be covering today is first, the Constitution. The second would be the crime rates, data, and statistics. And the third would be what can we do as Christians to step up in this field and really make a difference. The Bible says, "Let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except from God, and those that exist have been instituted by God. Therefore, whoever resists the authorities resists what God has appointed, and those who resist will incur judgment." What a lot of people don't realize is that our Constitution is what our laws are based on, and what our laws are based on is actually all biblical. And we as Americans have really strayed from this, and this is something that you really don't have to look far to realize. Just look in the news about how far we've come from the actual biblical principles in which this land was created. The Constitution is something that isn't necessarily black and white in all situations, but it's been taken to the extreme, and the extreme is judges in particular, but I think the criminal justice system as a whole, has really taken this to mean not what the law says, but what they interpret the law to mean, which obviously can be two very different things. And I think a great case to showcase this is the Terri Schiavo case. The Terri Schiavo case was a case that a lady was in a medically vegetative state, according to the doctors, and in about 15 years later, the husband petitioned for the court to take her off of a feeding tube, and he met a lot of resistance from the families. And the judge that judged on this case was really not seeing the facts as they were. The family was saying, "Look, she's alive, she's well. She may not be a productive member, but she certainly is showing signs of life." And the judge basically took it in his own hands and interpreted the law to mean something that totally wasn't meant to be. And basically, the end result was her feeding tube was removed, and she died basically of starvation. And I think a great way to showcase this is through this clip here.
You know, she has a lazy eye. I don't know if you're aware of that or not. She wore glasses over her. Like, her one eye rolls in on her. Doesn't it? One eye that rolls in on you? Used to make fun. You remember that? We used to laugh at that.
Now that's just a short part of an entire clip, but it does show that she certainly does have life, and that the judge was not necessarily within his power to make that call for them. The next part we're going to talk about is data, crimes, and statistics. Something that you really might be interested to know about is that a crime happens every 1.4 minutes, an aggravated assault happens, and a robbery happens once every 40 seconds. So odds are somebody you know, even today, has been affected either directly or indirectly by a crime. Incarceration rates, people that are in prison, they're the same way. Right now we're looking at 1.3 million people, according to the FBI statistics, that are currently incarcerated in the U.S. So there's certainly a need for people to come into this field and make a difference wherever they can. And I think that God has certainly called us as Christians to step up and make this change. Now, what can we do? The first thing that comes to mind, obviously, is education and making sure that you have a degree to be able to work in this field. But also it goes above and beyond that. It goes above and beyond just having an education. It also goes to making sure that you have a solid biblical foundation to go on. Something that God calls all Christians to have and to implement where they need to be. And they certainly need to be in the criminal justice system. I think that's one of the most prominent places that they really need to be. So that's something that, again, God calls of all Christians, but this is a great opportunity for Christians to step up and really make a difference in this field. So, in conclusion, we talked about the Constitution and how it's biblically based. The second thing we talked about was some crime rates and statistics, albeit not too intensive. However, it just gives you a glimpse of what's happening around us. And thirdly, we talked about what we as Christians are expected to do by God and opportunities that we can take. And I'd like to just thank you for this opportunity to talk to you, and have a great day.